Curse me for saying that the Overwatch League was getting quiet. Far, far from it. Jeez, it did not half kick off December with a bang. Right, we have some very interesting moves to go through. Last time we were talking about Nero moving to the San Francisco Shock. The San Francisco Shock will be cropping up again in this one. There are some crazy moves going on. But first of all, we finally have some news from Vancouver. Vancouver have been very quiet since letting go of their players and also Shockwave leaving over to the Philadelphia Fusion. They have not signed anyone until now, but now we do have some changes at the Vancouver Titans to finally talk about. Right, all of the people that will be coming into the Vancouver Titans, these 3 people, will have previous Overwatch League experience. Some of them, it's interesting pickups. Let's just put it that way. So there's 2 coming in from Atlanta Reign, or were at Atlanta Reign. First of these is the main support Fire, who was at Team MB before being at the Atlanta Reign. It's okay. It's nothing that's going to set the world alight at Vancouver, is it? Let's be honest. And to be quite honest, like, when I look at it, it's not an improvement. It's just Vancouver just kind of stalemating. It's not an improvement on what they had, in my opinion. Then they bring in the off-tank FRD. But yeah, I mean, again, FRD is a good off-tank, don't get me wrong. But I still don't think it's a massive signing. They had KSA last time. KSA was on very high ping. I think KSA was okay. I don't think FRD is massive. I really don't think so. So, again, this is a decent signing for the Vancouver Titans, but it's the Vancouver Titans just kind of carrying on as they are. This won't make Vancouver Titans a top 10 team. This won't improve the Titans, in my opinion. When you look at other teams around them, you look at Toronto Defiant, when you look at even Boston Uprising, you could say as well, they're improving. Whereas the Vancouver Titans, they seem to just be stagnating, which is not great. Let's be quite honest. And if so, when we look at people stagnating, very often, if they're stagnating, they're falling down the league because people around them are improving. London are improving. Toronto are improving. There are plenty of teams that are looking to improve. I think this team has a shout at being bottom in 2021. It is not great, and it is far from its former glory, let's be honest. And it's clear that this org that runs Vancouver Titans is not too interested in the league anymore. And I think it might be, if I was a betting person, I would say it would be between Vancouver and Paris to be finishing bottom of the league next season. And that sounds weird considering Boston Uprising are a team that exists. Anyway, last signing coming into the Vancouver Titans is actually a pretty pog one. It's not too bad. It is Glister, the Finnish DPS player, the hit scan coming in. He was with Houston Outlaws, has been with Houston Outlaws for a very long while. And, well, Glister is a great player. He is towards the latter end of his career, I would say. You know, at the age of 26, you're talking about a player that's nearer the latter end of his career. But he's still a great hit scan. He's still a fantastic hit scan player. And I think he will be one of the best players on this roster. However, I do also think Glister blows hot and cold. I think he can have very great moments. I think he can have very poor moments. I think with Houston Outlaws signing Happy, I think he is an improvement on Glister. So, although, I mean, Vancouver had Shockwave last season. Shockwave was great. He was really, really good. And Glister will fill a void very nicely for that hit scan role. I don't think he's going to be, I don't think he'll set the world alight. I don't think he'll carry this Vancouver Titans squad quite like Shockwave did, if I'm in all honesty. It'll be interesting. I would really like to be improved wrong by this Vancouver squad, don't get me wrong. It would be incredibly interesting to see this Vancouver squad pop off in some way if they could. But with a team that's made up of Dalton, Shredlock, Rolf, Glister, FRD and Fire, I don't see it happening. I don't see a massive rebirth of Vancouver Titans going on. And this was the question I had going into 2021 for Vancouver? Would they stick with this I could say half-assed roster that they put together after the blow-up of Runaway? Or would they rebirth into a new squad and perhaps become more powerful than they were at that point, or try and replicate the power they had back when they had that Runaway squad? But this is nowhere near it. Nowhere near it. I'd be incredibly surprised if this Vancouver squad was to make it anywhere above the bottom 5 places of the league next season, and that's before they've even finished building their roster. Anyway, we have a massive transfer to talk about now, and this is the final one of the video, and hence it's going to get the whole last segment. This is probably the last transfer coming into the San Francisco Shock. This is Glister. Oh boy, I didn't expect this one. I really didn't expect this one. So Glister was at London Spitfire last season, and he was arguably their best player. Glister is a fantastic hit scan player. Like, he is darn good at hit scan. And I did feel sorry for him when he was on London Spitfire at times, because he could really pop off. The problem is that the team around him wasn't good enough. And so he was in the Widow 1v1 tournament, and he beat Fitz. He is an all-star, I think. And he is still only 18. He's still really young, Glister. And he's obviously had experience at Gen G. Gen G were a great team. And London was a great platform for him to showcase his skill. He really did that. And now he is taking the biggest leap of all, following Agape, who was London Spitfire head coach, now assistant coach at the San Francisco Shock, to the Shock. He will be competing for a place with Uns. Now, obviously, that is a very, very big person to compete with. I think Glister is more of a long-term pickup for San Francisco Shock. Uns is great. And Uns was honestly a really big pickup for Shock last season. It was an incredible pickup because I had a lot of doubts about it. But Uns is 2 years older than Glister. So I think Glister is possibly a long-term option for Shock, as Uns perhaps wants to. He's had that shot at the league now. Uns was a streamer back in the day. And maybe Uns now wants to step back into that. I've had my shot at the league. I've won the league. Maybe he wants to retreat back. This be his last season, maybe. And then move back to a streamer role where Glister could spend a season under Uns. And then take over that role in 2022. I think this could be a long-term plan for Shock. If so, it is big brain. And I would not want to be any team going up against the San Francisco Shock in a double hit scan meta. Going up against Glister and Uns, or Uns and Striker, or Glister and Striker. Double sniper or double hit scan. Shock will be insane. They will be insane. They have a DPS lineup of Striker, Uns, Tayo, Nero, and Glister. That is stacked to the hilts. It really, really is. Obviously, this is beneficiary of the fact that Shock are 2-time champions. They have raked in the millions now in prize money. And although it does a lot of it go back out again on player wages, etc., they still have a little bit in the bank. And it's allowed them to forge a roster that is stacked. Super, Choihyobin, Smurf, Violet, Striker, Uns, Twilight, Tayo, FD God, Nero, and Glister. They have literally signed up 2 All-Stars from last season, FD God and Glister. And that's to add to the All-Stars they already had. Obviously, I don't believe Uns and Twilight are fully tied down yet, but I'm expecting them to be. This is a squad. It's just a squad. What can I say? I mean, they now have 11 players, and I don't think there'll be a lot more changes in terms of changes to the Shock side. They do have the opportunity to sign 1 extra player if they wanted to, but I don't know whether that'll happen now, considering they have 3 tanks, 3 DPS, and 5 DPS and 3 supports, I should say. This is a team that I am quite happy to put at the top of my power rankings right now. I had my doubts when they lost Moss. They have been extinguished. Now with Nero and Glister. I thought Glister originally would go to the Soul Dynasty. I was wrong. And this is just, yeah, it's a stacked squad. Absolutely stacked. Shock are the team to beat going into 2021. I don't think anyone would have argued too much with that before, but now I really don't see an argument with that. This is just a phenomenally talented roster, and it is under the guidance of Krusty. And we know how good Krusty is. They also have Caceres as an assistant coach and Agape as an assistant coach. Agape is an Overwatch League winning coach. Krusty is an Overwatch League winning coach. Caceres is an Overwatch League winning analyst, now coach. It's just, you can't get much better than what the Shock have right now. And it's up to the teams coming up the ranks. Dallas, LA Gladiators, obviously Philly, but they're kind of dropping back a bit in my opinion with what they've done. Shanghai, but they again have dropped back a bit. Seoul, it's up to these teams to dethrone this incredibly powerful San Francisco Shock side. And we will see if it can be done in 2021. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not hopeful. I would not be surprised to see a three-peat. I would not be surprised with this squad that's now at the Shock. But I am going to leave it here for this one. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you'd like to give a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. See you then.